Hey guys, what's going on? So I just want to start off with this first. It is insane to me that there are so many people in the lives that I've done, in the comments that I've gotten post 26.0 that have no idea what all the changes in 26.0 were going to be. Even if you don't subscribe, if this is like your first video that you're watching of mine, even if you don't feel like subscribing to me, please subscribe to Rush Royale Tips and Tricks. Subscribe to content creators that talk about updates prior to updates. So like Momo Royale is a channel that is incredibly successful, but he only really talks about like he only really does gameplay video, right? Unless they have a dev account. And like A-Friend Gaming doesn't really talk about things prior to the update. He talks about things after the update. Subscribe to a content creator that as news drops, they talk about things. Because it is insane to me that people have no idea like where the Book of Secrets went. Why are there just copies? Where did crystals go? There are so many things that changed in 26.0, and just as a disclaimer for you, before I even get into the content of this video, subscribe to a content creator that regularly talks about news, because there is so much to get from 26.0, and all of this information was available on the Discord. Subscribe to the Rush Royale Discord. Don't subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Rush Royale Discord. Their news section posts news all the time. The English part of the English chat, they talk about the update as it's happening, before it's happening, as news drops. There's a Discord where it's a community of people talking about the thing. Like, for God's sakes, man, like there are so many people that have no idea what all of these changes were. And we have been talking about these changes for weeks. For like, as it was dropping, for weeks upon weeks, we were talking about these changes. All of these changes. So please, as a disclaimer, before I start this video, please subscribe to somebody who talks about news so that next time 27.0 patch happens and they get rid of every single unit and revamp every single unit, and they get rid of all the heroes and put in all new heroes and change the game to Clash Royale. When that change happens in 27, I'm kidding. I'm obviously kidding. But I mean, like, as soon as like the next thing happens, you are not lost, because there are so many people that are lost. I had to answer the question, how do I get more Page of Secrets? 3 times during my last live stream, to the point where when the last person finally asked me, I almost blew up at them. And for no real reason. It was just because I was getting the question all the time. And if you haven't guessed already, this is just going to be a rant video. This is just going to be me talking about my thoughts about the title that you read, and that is what this video is. But for God's sakes, please either subscribe to the Rush Royale Discord or subscribe to a content creator that constantly talks about Rush Royale news, not just gameplay, not just here's my 1 trillion damage match, not just, oh, here's my other 1 trillion damage match, oh, here's my quadrillion damage match. Like, people who talk about the game. Like, subscribe to somebody who talks about the game. Rush Royale Tips and Tricks, he does it as well. Subscribe to him, subscribe to me, go onto the Rush Royale Discord. It doesn't have to be me. Maybe this is not your cup of tea. Maybe you just like watching the next 1 trillion damage match, and you just like watching, things be really cool things. Maybe that's your thing. Maybe you've already signed off of this video. Maybe you're like, this guy keeps talking. Like, I don't like this. I'm gonna watch another 100 trillion damage match instead. Anyway, I have been wanting to make this video ever since 26.0 dropped, and I really wanted to understand how this was going to affect everything. And 26.0 has been out for a little while, and I have now, like, as a, partial pay-to-play person in this game, where I'm buying, like, the pass, the season pass, as well as, like, event passes. I bought the last event pass so that I could get riding hoods, writing hoods, because if you buy the event pass now, you're getting 2.5 legendaries. You're getting 250 tokens. So 200 tokens will get you 2 legendaries, and then the 50 will obviously be a half of a legendary that in the next patch, or in the next event, if you complete the pass, buy the pass, you'll get 2.5 to equal the other half of that one, and 2 more. And so I have partial another riding hood as well. And as a person who spends about that amount of money, who has not bought, there was an offer for, it's not even here anymore, but there was an offer for Laboratory of Experiment coins. I think it was 120 coins, or maybe I think it was 180, because I think you got like 3 spins. I think it was 180 coins for like $5. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was some amount of money that I was just like, I'm just gonna wait. Right? I'm not that kind of spender. I don't do frivolous spending in this game. I do like major, like $10, I get all of this. You know, $10, I get 2.5 event legendaries. I'm like that kind of spender. Like I'm like a big, like $10, you know, kind of guy. But in saying that, that's how much I am. That's the amount that I'm getting from this game in spending. I just finished the 7K. I just got into Contender, and I'm in obviously Division 7. So my potential is 14 per, my potential is 14 legendaries. I did already pass the 5225, what was 5225 earlier. It is now currently, you just have to get into League 5, and then it's 5300, and that's the milestone. They changed all the milestones. So 5225, 6225, and 6920 used to be the original milestones of legendaries. The current milestones is League 5. As soon as you hop into League 5, you automatically get 3 legendaries, or whatever your division is. And then when you hop into League 7, that's when you get 3 more legendaries. When you hop into League 8, that's when you get 4 more legendaries. And then when you get to Contender, that's when you get the last of the 4. I already got the 5225 before they changed it, so I missed out on 2 legendaries. But with that being said, I basically whittled down all of my legendaries from the previous patch to from what I had before. I had everything that I wanted to keep. I basically crystalled literally everything that I possibly could, and I had no useless legendaries. With that being said, this is my current batch of legendaries. With all of those random legendaries that I obtained, I basically had all of these trappers, all of these witches. I have 2 shamans, 3 scrappers, 1 meteor, 2 minotaurs, because I'm pretty sure I got rid of all my minotaurs. I have 1 Harley Quinn. These are all things that I don't need. 2 Frost, 1 Demonologist, 1 Demon Hunter, 1 Boreas, 2 Bruisers. Everything else that I didn't name, I kept that from the last patch, because those are the cards that I was trying to upgrade, and if I could quote-unquote crystal everything, it would be all of those. I obtained all of those from 26.0 on. So from when the patch dropped till now, I've obtained all of those legendaries through Magic Dust, through getting to 7K trophies, and through just randomly getting them. And so I have a conspiracy theory. And it is a conspiracy theory about why the change from copies to crystals. So if you didn't know, and you're new to Rush Royale from 26.0 on, right now, you only need copies. So right now, to upgrade my Witch from 13 to 14, I need 14 copies of Witch. Originally, all you needed was 3 copies and 9 crystals. 9 crystals being 9 useless legendaries that you had, and you changed them into crystals, and then you had the ability to upgrade a Witch. So with the last patch, I would have been able to immediately take this to 14. I have way too many legendaries that I don't know what to do with, all the ones that I just named, and I would have been able to take all of those and turn them into crystals, and then I would already be able to have a level 14 witch right now. But instead, I need, what is this? 11 more copies? I need 11 more copies of witch. How do I get 11 more copies of witch? There are two specific ways. One, or maybe three specific ways. One, I can just randomly pull legendaries from this. Anytime I get a legendary, anytime I open up, every time I use magic dust, you have an equivalent chance of getting any of these. I can get a witch that way. In the season pass, the new big thing in the season pass are the pick your own legendaries. Now the double legendary at the bottom is now a pick your own legendary. You're going to be able to choose whatever you want. And trust me, I will always pick witch. Until I upgrade this to 15, I will always pick witch. Technically, I'm going to take it to 14 and use my the last of my pages of secrets to get it to 15. But until I get 11 more copies, I'm always going to pick witch. So I'm going to pick witch here. I'm going to pick witch here. And that is the other way to get it. You can do it through events that if you don't want to pick event units, if you don't want to buy event units, you can instead buy a pick your own legendary. Those are also 100, and you get to pick whatever you want. I feel like you should gravitate towards the event legendaries, seeing as how event legendaries are the best units in this game, the best DPS units in this game. So you should, if you don't already have a max event legendary, you should probably max one of those out, as opposed to upgrading something that you can potentially find elsewhere. And especially if you're going to pay into it, you should probably use all of that money to buy event legendaries. But I suppose, and you know, like this is a, you know, a side note, but I already have a Max Spirit Master as my main deck, and I was trying to build a Riding Hood. Obviously, I have this Riding Hood at 11. I need 3 more copies and I can take it to a 12, but it would take me forever to get it to a 13, a 14, and a 15. So like maybe I should still spend the $10 to get the 2.5 legendaries, but maybe I should just be buying witches. Or maybe I should just be buying Harley Quinns or trappers in the actual case of the regular version of this deck. In order to build a, you know, like one good solid base deck that I can take to 7K trophies every single season, like easier, and then start doing side projects like a Riding Hood. That's probably, you know, just as a side note, that's probably what I should be doing. But what I'm here to say is, why the change? Why did they go from a system where I could have easily have upgraded my witch from 13 to 14 right now? Why did they go from that system to I'm probably going to take like a month to upgrade this witch to get enough copies randomly? And I think that the answer has both a free-to-play reason and a pay-to-play reason. And I would like to go into my theoretical idea for why I think they did this. Originally, when you had the ability to crystal anything that you didn't use, essentially what you ended up doing was you invested very heavily into one deck, right? That's why I have this deck. I have a Max Spirit Master, a Max Scrapper, a Max Enchant Sword. My Witch should be at 13. And that was my project. That's what I was trying to do. And then my Trapper should be at 15. My Trapper should be at 15. My Witch should be at 15. My Trapper should be at 15. But those were like the projects that I was starting, and I was eventually going to do them probably within the last year, within this year. I probably would have gotten both of them to 15. With Books of Secrets, that's a whole other thing. But with Books of Secrets and crystals, I would have been able to do it. And now it's going to be obviously much harder. Now, this isn't a video talking about why I think they should or should not have done the change. It is a video talking about why I think they did the change. So whatever your feelings are about the change, whether you love it or whether you hate it, that doesn't actually matter in the context of this video. If you want to write in the comments because you read the title and you just want to be like, oh, I hate the change, I don't care. I don't care that you hate the change. I also don't care that if you love the change. That's not what I'm trying to discuss in this video. But I have a theory on why I feel like they felt the need to do it. If you are a, quote unquote free to play player, right? You just maybe you casually spend money in this game. You're not somebody who has a necromancer and a Zeus and Zeus glasses and necromancer, the necromancer item to 20, and you're working on hammers right now. Assuming that you're not that kind of person, right? And you just pay, you either play the game actually free to play, where you don't literally buy anything. I feel like if you were that kind of player, and you built up like a max, let's use the Steven Stanton 8554 example. Let's say you built a max Demon Hunter deck, and you spent all of your resources, you sacrificed countless amounts of legendaries to upgrade one specific deck. Not dissimilar to what I'm doing here, or not dissimilar to what I was doing with my Blade Dancer deck. When I was a Blade Dancer main, I wanted to upgrade all those Blade Dancer cards. So I have a max Blade Dancer, I have a max Night Statue, I have a max, what else is in that deck? Like the Enchant Sword, but then they made Enchant Sword and Night Statue not work together. I maxed my Dryad, I maxed my Scrapper. I was maxing out everything specifically for that deck. And it was never good. And so that type of person that would sacrifice every single one of your legendaries in order to make one deck good, because let's face it, that is the thing to do. The thing to do in this game is to max out one good deck so that your push in PvP to theoretically get to 7k trophies so that you can get the 4 legendary cards and all the other legendary cards every single season consistently, that is the thing to do. Max out one good deck and you're done. That's all you need. And so with that being said, that is the best thing to do. You were okay with sacrificing countless numbers of things that you didn't care about. Countless bruisers, it didn't even need to be good cards. It didn't even need to be bad cards. I'm not saying like you sacrifice countless numbers of hexes and countless numbers of demonologists. I'm saying that you were trying to build, like for me, a Blade Dancer deck. So I sacrificed a whole bunch of Banshees. I sacrificed a whole bunch of Cultists. I sacrificed a whole bunch of Corsairs, Meteors, Minotaurs. I didn't care about anything. I put all my eggs into the one Blade Dancer basket, and it's not good. Or at least it wasn't. That's why it was always difficult for me to jump into higher trophy ranges. It was really difficult for me to get to Contender. I think prior to 26.0, I got into Contender maybe 3 times. And now it feels like I can consistently do it all the time. With that being said, because I felt as a quote-unquote free-to-play or, mid-level spender, because I felt that I was sacrificing all of these other things, lessening all my other chances of building other decks, right? Because every time you're sacrificing a Corsair, that's how much further away you are from building a Corsair deck, if they add talents to Corsair. When you sacrifice Demon Hunters, that puts you further away from getting a Demon Hunter deck. When you're sacrificing all of these things and you're putting all of your eggs into one basket, that is why in the Rush Royale comment sections, that's why you're getting Steven Stanton 8554 saying fix Demon Hunter. It is the one deck that he has. It is the only thing that he plays. And because he was forced to sacrifice every other card to build a max Demon Hunter deck, and now it's not good anymore, because when it was good, it was very good. Now that it's not good anymore, what is there to do? Now, like in every single comment, all you want to do is write, fix Demon Hunter, the unit is dead. This unit used to be good and you nerfed it. I sacrificed everything for this one card, for this deck, and it's terrible now. You nerfed it and it's awful, fix it. And that's how you would feel if you decided to sacrifice all of your other things in order to build the one deck. As a as a free-to-play, mid-content level kind of person, I feel like the reason why they changed it from I can sacrifice crystals anytime that I want, 20 times a month, I can sacrifice 20 legendaries a month that I obtain. I think the reason why they did it was for the exact reason why I just said. I have now a whole bunch of things that I would never in a million years need. I have 3 scrappers. I have the 2 minotaurs. I have a clock. I have this 1 Harley Quinn. I have 2 frosts. I have a demonologist. I have a Boreas. I have a demon hunter. All of these would have been crystals. I would have sacrificed all of these already. But now I have used up every single one of my experiment coins, and the only way you can get experiment coins is either buying them straight up for money, buying them in the shop for gems, somewhere in here, buying them in the shop for gems, or waiting for an event unit that happens in 1 hour, and then another one happens in 7 days, and then another one happens in 14 days. Or, like 7 days, and then another 7 days from then, right? And that's the only other way to get experiment coins. And even when you use experiment coins, sometimes it doesn't always work. You have a 15% chance of failing. You do have the automatic guarantee, and you are also not sacrificing anything when you try it, which is good. Because by God, would this be a bad system if it failed, you sacrificed the legend? Can you imagine the outrage that people would feel if you had to do 6 every single time and you had to sacrifice 5 legendaries to change 1? That would be insanity. But anyway, there are so many in here that I would immediately sacrifice, but I can't. Because now I'm being gated by the obtaining experiment coins, and also actually sacrificing it when it works. I can go through and run through experiment coins, but if it just keeps failing, then I still have the surplus of this amazing amount of legendaries. I think that the reason why they made the change for free-to-play mid-level content creators was so that you would have this surplus of legendaries. If I had a new account and all of these legendaries cost 2, 4 copies, 6 copies, something easily obtainable, I already have 3 more scrappers. All 3 of these scrappers would have been immediately crystalled because I already have a max scrapper. But I've obtained 3 scrappers since this update came out, and I haven't been able to get rid of it. And I haven't, which obviously means I haven't been able to get rid of anything else. What happens if I take months to actually get successful experiments, and I finally sacrifice all 3 of these, and now I have 12 demon hunters, and 10 shamans, and 13 frosts? Guess what I'm gonna do? Oh, I have the upgrade. I guess I'll just upgrade it. It's fine. That's how I'm gonna feel now. When you have an excessive amount, you're just gonna keep it. You're not gonna wait, because once you start maxing out things, eventually I trust that I'll get a night statue and a blade dancer and, all these other, a dryad, and, all these other things that I've already maxed out. And then I'll just sacrifice those eventually. But it takes so long to sacrifice things that eventually I'm going to start obtaining more legendaries than I can sacrifice. At which point I'm going to be able to build up my entire roster equally. And so even though you need far more cards because there are no more crystals, you're obtaining legendaries at such a rapid rate that the game is basically trying to make you level up at everything just because. I described this pre-patch because I thought that if they were to give you a surplus of legendaries to where you couldn't sacrifice enough of them, legendaries would start to feel like commons, rares, and epics. And what I mean by that is, and I never meant this in a negative light. I thought that this was just an interesting way to take the game. When you look at your commons, rares, and epics, as you progress through the game, you need so many commons, rares, and epics. You know, people are complaining about needing 73 legendaries. How many copies of a common card do you need to max out a common card? You need tens of thousands of common cards. Somebody can fact check me on that. I'll pin you in the comment if you can give me an actual statistic for these things. How many commons, rares, and epics do you need to max out a common, rare, and epic? Everybody's complaining about 73 legendaries. How many commons do you need? Thousands. Like, you need so many commons to max out a common. But nobody ever complained about that for two reasons. One, you didn't really care about building up one common unit. You were just okay with just getting them all equally over the course of time and then just upgrading it as it came. Like, oh, I can upgrade my lightning mage now. I guess I'll just upgrade that. Oh, I guess I can upgrade my poisoner now. There was no system where you could like say, oh, I don't care about lightning mage, so I'm going to sacrifice all my lightning mage and I'm going to add them to rogue. I'm going to trade them in for rogue shards, right? There was no system. You just got stuff from the game, free stuff over the course of time, and then you just upgraded it naturally. And that's a fine system. Nobody complains about not being able to get enough Crystalmancer shards. Nobody complains about not being able to get enough Chemist shards. You could request Chemist in like in clan, but like beyond, and like if you wanted to, you could like hard buy things in the shop. But for the most part, it never really bothered you. You just kind of got it whenever you got it. And then eventually you just kind of upgraded everything. I think that is what they're trying to do with legendaries. And they want you to treat it more like commons, rares, and epics, and not necessarily care that, you know, like I need 11 more witches to upgrade my witch to a 13 to a 14, and then I need 16 more witches after that. That's going to be insane. It's so many copies. I'd have to buy the pass so many times. I'd have to buy the event so many times, right? They don't want you to think like that. Because what's eventually going to happen is all of these legendaries, you're eventually going to be able to shove them into Laboratory of Experiment. And by the time I get rid of my 3 scrappers, I will have obtained so many more legendaries to upgrade so many other things. And to get back to the Steven Stanton example, if I had multiple decks that were all like very high in a regular account, I could switch DPS units. I could add different cards. I could try different strategies because now everything is upgraded. But there's a second part to this story. And the second part to this story is, I think, the pay-to-win side. Or this game isn't pay-to-win. What have we determined that the game is? Pay to progress faster. It's P2PF. Or it's pay to save time. P2S2, P2ST, I don't know. It's not pay to win, it's pay to save time or pay to progress faster. The other flip side to this coin is that what happens if you max out every legendary? In the old system, that meant that every time you got a new legendary, they were immediately a crystal. So people with max accounts, like an A-Friend Gaming, for example, he has every card maxed out. What is every legendary to him from that point, whenever he maxed out everything, till forever? Every legendary is now a crystal. So what happens when they drop Bard into the game? All he has to do is get 17 copies. In the old system, you could also hold 2 books. I believe you could hold 2 books. 2 books, because you could hold a book of secrets, and then I believe you could hold 6 pages, which is obviously equivalent to a second book of secrets. So you could hold two books of secrets at any given time. 2 Book of Secrets would reduce your maximum copies by 6, which meant that all you needed was 11 copies and crystals to max out any card. All you needed was 11 copies of a new card and crystals, the crystals for that, which, again, if you were in A-Friend Gaming and you've already maxed everything out, all you'd have to do is get every legendary that, happened, every legendary that you obtained is now automatically a crystal from that point on till forever. When Bard drops into the game, you have now saved 2 books, which means you only need 11 copies. Playing the events in a natural way gave you 3 copies. So now you only need 8 copies. I believe $40 was a copy, because I think $20 was 50 spins, and then it would take 100 spins to get a copy, a Bard copy. So you needed, it was 11. So the 2 books brings your 17 down to 11. You could get 3 bards from just completing the event in a natural, regular way. So 11, 8? Why is this so difficult? 8. All you needed were 8 copies. I don't know why I said 7 before then. So all you need are 8 copies. And at max, it's $40 a copy in order for you to max out the newest, biggest, best legendary. That's all you would need. You would just need 8 copies, because you probably already obtained enough legendaries from the time you max out all of your legendaries till now. And then you would only need 8 copies of Bard, and you would have enough. You would have infinite crystals. So the crystal crunch doesn't matter. I, as a not endgame player, have 4 million gold, so the gold isn't a factor. And so all you would need are 8 copies that are roughly $40 a piece, assuming that you didn't luck out and get a Bard in between those 100 spins, because you had a 2% chance of also rolling a Bard as well, getting a legendary in between the 100 spins. And so you would need, 4 times 8, $320. It would cost you $320 as a pay-to-win person to max out the newest, biggest, best unit immediately. And that's how they were doing it. $320, while being a lot of money, is definitely not 7,300 spins, which is what they're going to have to do now. Imagine a new biggest best unit. Hamster Man. Hamster Man is going to be in the next event unit. And you need 73 copies now. You need 73 copies, and the wheel costs $40 per copy. And now you need 73 copies, when before you needed 8 copies, because you'd already have the crystals and the Book of Secrets and everything. And now you need 73 copies. Good luck. Good luck, whales. Time to see who's the whaliest whale. Like, I don't know how they're going to change events, but those are going to be silly. I don't know if they're going to give you, like, maybe the main prize, maybe you'll be able to get, like, 10 copies as a free-to-play player, or as a, regular player. Maybe you'll be able to get 10 copies. Maybe every wheel spin at the max gives you 5 copies if you, like, do 100 spins, right? I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm just saying, if it's the same, now you need 73 copies. And that's going to be much harder for whales. Because now, there is no saving. Whales that have everything, those people also still have to sacrifice things into the laboratory of experiments, just like everybody else. Now imagine if you had every card, or all cards but one. Every time you do a laboratory of experiment, you get 1 of 5. What if you already have 4 of the 5? You think your odds are bad? You think your odds are bad? Just think about this from like an A-Friend gaming perspective. Let's say they add Hamster Man, or no, I'm sorry, Hamster Boy. Hamster Man is the event unit. Hamster Boy is it's just going to be a regular legendary. They're just going to add a legendary to the legendary pool. And it's Hamster Boy. Hamster Boy is now in the legendary pool. Do you know how hard that's going to be to get 73 copies of that if you already have everything? I think both reasons are why they did this. For new players, it's better to have multiple decks so that you don't become a Steven Stanton 8554 and complain about how Demon Hunter has gotten nerfed. And that was the card that you spent all of your resources investing into, and now you can't even use the deck. For whales that had a surplus of excess items that they could just store and immediately max everything very easily, or reasonably easily to them, now they can't do that anymore either. It's forcing two groups to spend money in different ways. And again, this isn't a video of why, about like whether or not you like the change or don't like the change. This is the change. I'm simply trying to state that I think this is why they did it. And again, whether you like it or not, that's irrelevant. But that is my conspiracy theory on why I think they did.